Should you take a vitamin D supplement? Well, that depends. The short answer, maybe. The smarter answer, it depends on you. New evidence shows that taking vitamin D can be beneficial, but the dose should be personalized. Healthy isn't just what you do, it's who you become. I'm Dr. Vicki, and this is Healthy Looks Great on You, a lifestyle medicine podcast to help you reclaim your energy, your focus, and your well-being. Life tested, doctor approved. Years ago, I jumped on the bandwagon and started checking vitamin D levels in my patients. There were studies that showed that low vitamin D levels increase the risk of certain types of cancer as well as other health conditions. I also had my own level checked, and guess what? It was low. So I took a whopping dose for a while and got my levels into the normal range, and they stayed there. But large bolus doses taken long-term can backfire. Medical research is certainly complicated. The pendulum has swung back and forth. But now there is new evidence that tailoring the dose of vitamin D so that the levels in your bloodstream are between 40 and 70 nanograms per milliliter can reduce your risk of heart attack as well as have other health benefits. So let's go to mini medical school for a minute and talk about what vitamin D actually is, how it works, and why it matters. I feel kind of sorry for vitamin D. Vitamin D is always calcium's sidekick, and it seems to have an identity crisis too. There's vitamin D2 and vitamin D3, and you can call it vitamin D or use its other name, calciferol. But let's just commit to calling it vitamin D. This nutrient is a fat-soluble vitamin that plays a necessary role in strong bones. It's also important for strong immune system, and it plays a role in muscle and brain function. But here's what's really special about vitamin D. Your body can actually make it. You want the recipe? Because this is fascinating. It starts with a cholesterol-like substance that's found in your skin. And ultraviolet blue rays, or UVB rays, come in through the skin through sunlight exposure. Then 17-dehydrocholesterol is converted to vitamin D3. Then you got to transfer the mixture to the oven. Haha, just kidding. It goes to the liver and kidneys to be hydroxylated, not roasted, and ultimately is converted to 25-dihydroxyvitamin D. So what's the deal with sunlight? Because if I had to choose between living my entire life inside or outdoors, you'd find me living under the sun and the moon. And the proof is in my tan lines. So why would my level be low? Well, the amount of vitamin D that your body produces depends on lots of other things. I use sunscreen, so that's one thing. I don't want to get skin cancer, and I certainly don't want wrinkles. But also, I tan easily, and you may be surprised to learn that darker-skinned people are more prone to vitamin D deficiency. That's because melanin, which is the pigment in skin, acts as a natural barrier to sunlight. We'll learn more right after the break. Now, think of sunlight as a sourdough starter for vitamin D. Necessary, but not sufficient for everyone. So what plants can you eat that contain vitamin D? Well, it turns out there's only one. Think maitake, shiitake, portobello, and white button. That's it. Mushrooms exposed to UV light are the only plant source of vitamin D. It's the solo source. So you've got what your body makes, BYOV, bring your own vitamin, and fungi, which are a great meat substitute when roasted. But if you're an 80s or 90s girl like me, when you think of vitamin D, do you think of the campaign Got Milk? Remember the milk mustache and they said, milk, it does a body good. Well, I'd say that's debatable, but milk does contain calcium and vitamin D. And if you want to drink your vitamin D, maybe try unsweetened soy or almond milk. Now that you know what it is and where to get it, let's look at what difference it makes. If your body is deficient in vitamin D, you may feel fatigued and moody. Your sleep can be impaired. Your immune function may not be as good. And symptoms can be subtle or even absent. Your doctor might want to check your levels, but there are other reasons that you want to keep your level at least above 30 nanograms per milliliter, ideally between 40 and 70, but not necessarily higher. And here's where the science has evolved. More isn't necessarily better. When I was deficient in vitamin D, I took a megadose. Now we know that that can actually cause more harm than good, and it's better to personalize the dose. And yes, that means getting your blood drawn again. Generally speaking, most people can benefit from about 2,000 international units a day without medical supervision, and people who are deficient likely need 4,000 to 6,000 international units a day to get those levels up where we want them. So who should really be paying attention to vitamin D levels? Women over 50, people with limited sun exposure because either they work inside or they use sunscreen or they live in areas where there's just not a lot of sunshine. Darker-skinned individuals and anyone with fatigue, frequent infections, poor mood, or bone loss. And people with a history of osteoporosis and heart disease. So if you saw yourself in that list, this is not optional trivia. This is actionable information. So why do you want to get your levels up? Let's look at the Target D study. We're going to take a short break, but no, you do not have time to run to Target. In the Target D trial, researchers used personalized vitamin D dosing to raise blood levels in people with a prior heart attack. Most participants were deficient to start, and many required 5,000 international units daily to reach the target. Over 4 years, those who achieved adequate levels had a lower risk of having another heart attack. It was greater than 52%, and that's substantial, and it got everyone's attention. Adequate vitamin D levels have been associated with better immune function, fewer respiratory infections, improved mood and energy, and possibly lowering the risk of certain types of cancer and cognitive decline. It's not a cure-all, but it just isn't about bones either. Current research is being done to see if it benefits people with diabetes or multiple sclerosis or COVID. And of course, you do need vitamin D for strong bones. But how much and what kind? Well, vitamin D supplements come in two forms, vitamin D3 and vitamin D2. D3 is more potent and longer lasting than D2, but let's don't get lost in alphabet soup. How much depends on your individual level. Vitamin D supplements can also interact with your medication, so be sure and talk to your pharmacist and healthcare provider if you're taking a supplement. If you're already taking a supplement, make sure you know your number and talk to your doctor so you can find the sweet spot. All right, let's do a quick vitamin D myth buster. Number 1, if you're outside a lot, you can't be deficient. We know that's not true because of your skin tone or because of sunscreen or because of the season or where you live. Myth number 2, more vitamin D is always better. In the past, we used megadoses to treat low vitamin D. Now we tailor it to your specific level. Myth number 3, vitamin D is just calcium's sidekick and helps the bones. It does so much more than that. As a review, it helps your immune system, your brain function, your muscles. It acts as a hormone. It can improve mood and impacts heart health. And the final myth that is the real message of this episode is that everyone needs the same dose. I always say, we are in fact fearfully and wonderfully made, and the dose that you take should be tailored to the levels in your bloodstream. Vitamin D isn't just calcium's sidekick. It functions like a hormone too, helping cells and organs communicate and work properly. So get your level checked, personalize the dose, skip the milk mustache, soy milk doesn't leave one anyway, and eat your mushrooms. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I hope you'll subscribe so you get every single episode delivered straight to your inbox. Just go to my website, healthylooksgreatonyou.com. While you're there, you might want to check out the Kickstart program or the Healthy Looks Great on You Lab. In 2026, let's get healthy together because healthy looks great on you.
The information contained in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not considered to be a substitute for medical advice. You should continue to follow up with your physician or healthcare provider and take medication as prescribed. Though the information in this podcast is evidence-based, new research may develop and recommendations may change.